enzymes and separate out the stem cells, because when you are born, the stem cells are used for differentiation to create the different organs, and the way the architect or God designed it was that he then kept some in storage because you're going to live a dangerous life. You need it for acute inflammation, for injury repairs, and all of those things that the body is going to need, right? So it's stored there. And so it's in the bone marrow, it's in your blood, and it's in the fat, and in some other organs. So we use fat because fat tends to have the best deposits for stem cells. But there are some pluses and minuses with adipose stem cells. Some of the pluses is that it's your own stem cell. So there are no issues of concern with regard to foreign genetic material. Some of the weaknesses are that as you grow older, your stem cells are not as viable as they were when you're young. So some practices around the world are using blood from young people to actually do infusions to older people to actually rejuvenate their blood. Some people are doing that here in the US. I think it's about $10,000 for a liter of young blood. So they take young blood and actually transfuse that blood into you so that it will give you younger attributes across those stem cells, right? The other weakness with those stem cells is that because we don't know what the injury in your body is, you may want to target it for knee pain, but the body would decide where there is urgent need for the stem cells. It's the body's homeostasis that decides where stem cells should be used. Is that making sense? And we don't know. So nobody does healing. It's the body that decides what it's going to heal first, what is most urgent required. So people will say, oh, it does not work. Well, it's not like it's something we're going to see how it works. It goes into the body and the body decides when it's going to work. For example, you cannot predict when you're going to be hungry. It's the body that creates the signal. Then you respond, right? Isn't that it? It's not like, I'm going to eat now. If you eat now, then you're going to see the impact of that. Then your body doesn't know what to do. But when the body is hungry and you give it the right nutrient, the body then knows how to deal with it. We are not actually in charge. The body is actually in charge. It's not like I'm going to sleep, okay, I'm going to wake up now. Oh, what happened? Sorry.
She hitting the...
What is that?
She tripped on the corner.
Oh, okay. Are you okay?
She tripped on the...
Oh, sorry about that.
Oh my gosh, well, that was fast.
Yeah, sorry about that. What do you need? Bathroom? Oh, they just ask for it.
We'll get it for you.
Sit down.
Sit down, sit down, sit down. Just ask for it. That's why I have all these guys around. Okay, take her to the bathroom. Sorry, Vanessa. Okay. Thanks, guys, for the quick response. Okay. Where was that? Remind me.
Stem cell. Adipose.
Okay, so we're talking about adipose stem cell and some of the strengths, weaknesses, and opportunities around that. The pricing around stem cell, for example, the adipose, and if you look at the extraction method, you can check all of this online. It takes about 2 hours for the whole process, or 3 hours to complete, and then we then put the injections in the necessary places that we need to put them. Well, it typically where you are having pain, and the FDA rules around stem cell use right now is only approved for pain. That's what stem cells are currently approved for. Hi, Victor, you made it.
Yeah, I'm sorry I'm late.
It's all right, man. Sit down somewhere.
Come here. Come here.
Oh, okay, no, he'll sit there. That's fine, Victor. Okay, so, all right, so that's an adipose stem cell. So the other stem cell that we offer is the umbilical cord stem cell. So there is a lot of controversy around umbilical stem cells, right? With the whole abortion, with the destruction of fetuses, with the extraction of stem cells from fetuses. It's how it was until George Bush banned the extraction of stem cells from fetuses. So now, stem cells are only extracted from purchased umbilical cord extracts after women give birth. So that's the main, they call it cord blood, and that's used. That is all the stuff that comes out. In my culture in Africa, all of that is buried under the family tree. But people now are selling that or donating it to those places where they then grind all of it. It's really very rich in stem cells and what we call growth factors and cytokines. They grind it and then they extract. Big concerns around it, as with adipose. One is the germline material, the issue of the DNA, whether there's some consequences, but there is no published research to support those concerns, but people have those concerns. The second concerns are concerns of purity, whether through the extraction, the dead cells and all of that, so you don't get infusion of dead cells into you. But the benefits are that this is coming from the source of life. They are prime stem cells. They're from young babies that are in an environment where everything is at the beginning of life. So that's where there's a lot of power. And also because we are buying them in 10 million cell tubes or 30 million cell tubes, there's a price difference on that. On the adipose, we charge $5,000 for the extraction and for one injection. For the injections for when we use umbilical cord stem cell, the 10 million bottle is at $3,000 for one injection, and the $30 million bottle is at $6,000 for 3 injections that we give. Okay? Are we clear with that? Okay? I already walked through why stem cells are becoming a critical part of your overall therapy, right? Number one, I'll just go back, Victor wasn't here. Number one is to stop, right? Number two is the reversal. And that's the injury to organs. Okay? And so those are the two critical things that we do when we look at chronic illness. And how do you stop the progression? We talk about the lifestyle ingredients, as we call them, that are necessary to stop that progression. And number one is nutrition, right? Everybody's talking about ketogenic diets. Number two is nutrients from the supplements using the FDA, the RDA guidelines. Number three is sleep. Number four is hydration. Number five is stress. Number six is toxicity. And number seven is exercise. That's how you stop the decay. And so if that decay was going like that, that's what you're doing. You're stopping and perhaps some improvement back. But to return to almost some level of capacity, right, you need a different kind of intervention. Is that making sense? For example, if your kidney is already 50-60% damaged, right, the cellular regeneration that's required for that requires the introduction of stem cells. Okay? All right. So we're going to watch a video. Is everybody now on page? Yes.
Is it possible to do the ketogenic diet if you're a vegetarian?
Well, convince me how you're going to do. You can, but it's very difficult. because you have to look for only vegan oils. And the oils are fat. The challenge you're going to have is protein.
Yeah.
And therefore, you have to supplement with a lot of protein meals, like from whey and from different things. But the point is, it's very difficult. Yes, it's very, and you have to really manage it very well. Most vegetarians, when tested, are actually sick at the biomarker level. Yes, that's a fact. Because they're not,
No protein.
there's a lot of stuff we get from animals, and I can show you organ meats and just show you how much we get from them. So if you're not eating meat, you're really losing a lot, and therefore you need to specifically look for how you're going to supplement in all of that, like magnesium, selenium, potassium. You really need to identify sources of it to make sure that you're complementing appropriately.
So,
And the amino acids
so,
that only mostly come from animals.
and the emphasis would then be on organic meat, but then organic meat is not really organic.
Well, I already just told you that. It's
Okay,
not my
so
fault.
any
It's
meat.
not my fault. It is what it
So any
is.
meat then.
Well, that's why some people retire to the village. You have that option, or you come live in our clinic. We're going to be opening a hotel where we can create residence, a dictatorial residence where we'll ring the bell at 6 a.m. and you have to be up for running 100 meters, right?
When year will that hotel be ready?
I'm working on it.
2030.
Right, Victor? So you can come there for 6 months and they will give you 6 months time off.
And
Yeah.
that will extend your life, 5 years?
Well, more actually, more. Promise more. Okay, so we're gonna watch. Yes, go ahead, please.
Yes. Is the almond protein similar than animal protein?
Sorry.
Almond.
Almond protein.
Almond.
No.
No.
So it doesn't matter how much protein you have from plants. It's not enough.
Plant-based is not the same.
Except, as I said, guys, you specifically tailor the amino acids and minerals that are required. Right? So that's a very interesting question.
Thank you.
But most vegans that we've tested here, we know that they have problems. And one of the problems with vegans is that they tend to get diabetes much earlier than other people.
What
Because they
happened
eat a
with
lot
all
of
the monks? What happened
carbohydrates.
with all the monks because they are vegan?
Oh, that's the big issue in Vietnam. Most of the monks are diabetic.
Wow, interesting.
Yes, actually they wanted me to do some presentations there. Most of the monks in the temple are diabetic. They eat a lot of sugar.
To get the energy because of the
Yes,
plant.
because they're not getting, yes. Most
Interesting.
vegetarians are diabetic.
So, and that sugar that they get is in the form of carbohydrates?
Yeah, well, sugar is carbohydrate.
Right.
Sorry.
Okay.
So any
Rice.
candy sweets, anything sweet
Yeah.
is a carbohydrate.
Mung beans, rice, wheat,
Yeah.
coconut, all these are.
Yeah, so they eat,
Oh.
I mean, I've eaten at the temple.
Yeah.
It's mostly vegetarian, but it's a lot of sweet stuff and a lot of carbs.
A lot of soy base.
Yes.
It's everything mostly soy base.
And now with the infusion of all the things that we are, yeah. Can you start the video soon? Okay. Any other questions? So we're gonna look at a video now that hold on, guys. Guys,
Really quick. I can visualize a number 8 on this one.
what was that?
Attitude, maybe.
Actually, that's where stress
With
comes
stress,
in.
stress.
This is
Oh,
it. Yeah.
okay.
The meditation, it's
Gotcha.
the positive attitude. So within stress is the whole concept of perception, which is really around relationships, around attitude, around focus, and just finding a meditational space.
Gotcha.
So I didn't want to go into details, but that's really what causes stress to us.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so anything that causes us stress is in that box. And for human beings, it comes from money, or what I call freedoms. Okay, I've created a
Money,
freedom
money.
box.
Freedom box.
Yeah, let me
it's
show.
Freedom box.
Victor, you have now prompted me to give you my freedom box.
Yeah, you didn't see the freedom box.
The freedom box drives all stress. Number 1 in the freedom box is
Health.
Kim.
Health.
All right, Kim is our teacher today. Kim has been lectured this a lot. Number 2, Kim.
Oh, knowledge.
Yes, correct.
Bravo.
You hear, you're better than my staff. Number 3, Kim.
Relationship.
Oh, wow.
Wow, good.
I'm getting extra stem cell cash today.
Number 4, Kim.
Wait. it's not money, it's something else, I can't
Money
remember.
is the last one.
Money is the last one, I know, I can't remember that one,
Yeah.
number 4.
This one is
Health.
time.
Times, I'm sorry, yeah, that's right, times.
Okay, so Kim is gonna get some extra steps. So these things is what we call freedom. And when you have a lot of freedom, you don't have stress.
True.
It's called the freedom bus.
I'm gonna go with her to check it.
The children,
I know.
oh, to the urgent care,
Yeah.
her back,
Yeah, back.
and put a stem cell patch on her. She wants to go urgent care to check it.
I think so. It's better because she.
All right, okay, take her there. Okay, thank you. All right. Wow. So you're going straight to urgent care, right?
Yeah.
All right. Across the street. Okay. All right. So the freedom. So the more free you are, the less stress you have. Remember, money is number 5 because a lot of people think if they have a lot of money, then they're free. No, actually, this is the number 1.
Yeah.
And then when you're ignorant and stupid, you die stupid, right? Even if you have a lot of money. And this is huge.
Yes.
And the use of your time, right? You spend it watching Netflix, then you will be stressed, right? So I call that the freedom box, and it's a very important part of that stress conversation. Is that making sense? Okay? All right? And so you have to make sure that in this box, you have it all balanced properly. So freedom is not something we give you in democracy or something that comes from somebody else. Freedom is something that you define yourself. And for all of these things, thank you. Do you want them to get your children also? Get her handbag?
So sorry, I have to go.
No, I understand. So Vincent will go with you. Is that okay? All right. Thank you, Vanessa. Thank you. All right. So the amount of freedom, if you look at all these things here, it's not in control of the government or your parents or anything. It is under your control. So you define how much freedom that you are going to have. And therefore, that drives the amount of stress. Okay? Make sense? Okay. Let's watch this video quickly. Hold on. Any questions? No? So we're going to talk now. Can we do something about the air? It's beginning to get hot.
Sucking.
Yes. Well, but it's not flowing. Are you okay? You sure? Okay. So what happened to the video? Open it on. You should be playing it on the Safari. Okay, we're gonna look for the video. Where was he playing it? So just call him quickly when he's playing the video. Or perhaps you think he was playing it on YouTube? No, that's not it. Yeah, can you go check quickly? He's in the car. Can you go check quickly? Let him
He
come
took
and
Vanessa
find out
to-
where he put the video. All right. So while we're doing that, let me start giving you your patches.
Found it.
You found it? All right, please. All right, let's go. Who's back there? Grace, could you give me some?